Hey everybody, it's Mandy from Chapel Forge. We're going to be talking about freeze drying today. So let me know if you have a freeze dryer, don't have a freeze dryer, you want a freeze dryer. Let me know in the comments. I always get requests about freeze drying videos because people don't know how much you can do with a freeze dryer. Like, it's not just as simple as like stocking your long-term pantry with MREs or things like that. There's so much you can do with it. So I want to start making space for half a steer. And I lost my voice last week. It's coming back. It's better. I had some honey garlic, so I did put garlic in honey in 2021. Hold on. And it is amazing. I mean, it's good for this, you know, whatever I'm fighting, but it also just tasted really good, which I was not expecting. Anywho, that was a side note. So I want to make room for half a steer. I have some room in this freezer. I want to start clearing out bananas freezer. So typically what I do when I freeze them is I freeze them in groups of 4 because that's what I need for making bread. So I want to start clearing bananas out of this freezer to make space. So here is what this freezer looks like. So I always freeze them in quart Ziplocs, 4 at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out what I think is going to fit on a freeze-dried tray, which I'm guessing once they thaw is going to be maybe 2 bags per tray. So I'm going to pull out 10 bags just in case. The goal here is that if you watched our zucchini video, or zucchini powder video, I freeze dried a bunch of zucchini and made it into powder because I can reconstitute it to make zucchini bread. I love this method. It saves so much freezer space that I can put meat or other things in here, and it really works out really well. I have a zucchini muffin, chocolate zucchini muffin video that I can link, and I essentially want to do the same thing with these bananas. So I'm going to walk you through the freeze drying process, show you how to freeze dry banana powder so that you can make banana muffins and banana bread. You always think like 10 bags is going to gain you all this freezer space. No, it's not, but we'll keep chipping away at it. So we got our basket here of our bananas. You love my shopping basket for the pantry. So we're gonna let these thaw. I just pulled, what did I pull out? Oh, orange peels. So I had a bunch of orange peels. The kids have been eating clementines like crazy. So I saved those because I'm gonna make orange cranberry goat milk soap for this winter. So the freeze dryer is on defrost right now. These are not going to probably thaw enough before that's done because it'll be done in like an hour and a half. But we're gonna let these thaw, we'll get them on trays, and I'll show you how to do this process. All right, so we're spreading these onto the trays. I get questions a lot of times about how much can you fit onto a tray. I have the medium from Harvest Right that has 4 trays. If you get a Harvest Right medium now, it comes with 5 trays. I don't know what the weight limit is on those. I'm gonna assume it's between 8 and 9 pounds because mine is about 7 pounds. I shoot to do 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds per tray. I don't get super anal and weigh them or anything. But in general, you just want to try to keep it below the top. So like I'll just smush these down a little bit more. Try to keep it below the rim of this. Don't get like super hyped up on this. I've done ones that I did a thin layer, a thick layer. The worst case scenario is you pull it out and it's not completely dry. You powder it and you just have to dry your powder, which sometimes, even if you follow all the rules to a T and weigh them and all that, sometimes you still have to do that. It just happens. It's not a big deal. Typically on your second drying of the powder, it takes like a couple hours. It's not really a big deal. You're not wasting a ton of electric or anything. I also get a question often, you know, so the price of the freeze dryer is, you know, $3,000 give or take, depending on which size you get, if there's a sale, etc. And then how much does it cost to run? So for us right now, we're paying like 6.5 cents a kilowatt hour or somewhere in that ballpark. It costs $2.50 to $3 probably per run. I usually run it at least a few times a week. In the summer, it's probably running every day. This time of year, it kind of depends what we have going on. Obviously, we're focused on fire pokers and goat milk soap right now because it's Christmas time. So I might only be running like 1 or 2 runs a week, depending on what's going on. So that's how much it costs. It's really not a huge expense, especially when you figure out how much this stuff costs to buy, like on Amazon, or if you buy MRE type meals or freeze dried meals or whatever for hiking, that kind of stuff. That stuff's super expensive. So we're gonna get all of these spread out and get them in the freeze dryer. All right, so I realize this is not super appealing, But these are going to be delicious. I typically freeze my bananas when they're already brown. You know, if we haven't eaten them and they've gotten brown, they make the best banana bread, the best muffins. So I realize that this is not uber appetizing, but I promise it's going to make delicious powder. Yep, close that valve. All right, so we got all 4 trays into the freeze dryer. Jamie's closing the valve for us. That's always important. Make sure you close the valve every time. It'll tell you if you don't, because you won't achieve a vacuum. So we are getting this stuff in. As usual, it's probably gonna take 24 hours, give or take. This is pretty thick, so I wouldn't be surprised if it took a little bit longer. It's fine, it's good. All right, so I did not pre-freeze these, which if you follow along, you know that I almost always pre-freeze, but I did not pre-freeze these, and I sort of paid for it. So I made a little bit of a mess in the freeze dryer, which I'll show you in a second. They didn't do too bad. I'm probably gonna have to do the powder again, which is fine, whatever. We'll get this off. I'll show you what it looks like in the freeze dryer. I definitely have some cleanup to do. So you can see I had a little bit of an explosion there. It is filthy in there, so that's all right. We'll pull that out and get it all cleaned up. So we got to get that cleaned up. I needed to clean it anyway, so no big deal. All right, so we are going to get this into the blender, get everything powdered up. I should be able to go from maybe 4 trays to like 3 trays or something, so we'll see. All right, so I'm pleasantly surprised. I actually don't think I need to refreeze dry this. It looks amazing. It's super dry. I think I'm just gonna store it this way. So I have a little bit more to finish. I need to get this tray into a jar. I think I can probably fit this in 2-quart jars. Typically when I do 4 trays in my medium, I wind up with like half a gallon-ish of powder. So this was 8-quart bags that had 4 bananas in each, so like 32 bananas that I'm gonna fit in 2-quart jars, which is amazing. So we're gonna get this project finished up and then we'll have banana powder on the shelf. All right, so we're done. We got 2-quart jars of bananas out of this. So there is approximately 16 bananas in each jar. If you assume you need 3 to 4 bananas to make a loaf of bread or a dozen banana muffins, I should in theory be able to get 8 loaves of banana bread out of this, or 8 dozen muffin, you know what I'm trying to say. 8 dozen muffins out of this. So that's pretty amazing. This is only gonna take up this much space compared to how much I just cleared out of that freezer. So if you have questions about freeze drying, making powders, reconstituting it to make breads and things like that, let me know. See you next time.